Ladies and gentlemen, I thought the day would never come, but today, here we have our look at the new Artaka figure that, at this point, I don't know, that contest probably ended like a year ago, or we're nearing a year, but it's been a long ride. I made the announcement video back in February, so it's been 7.5 months, and I started saving up since then, and here we are. Just to give you a look at the overall figure, because obviously I can't get the whole thing in the shot at the same time. Just backing it up, I have this on like a stack of books right now. But yeah, he's right there. You can see he's pretty big. We're gonna go into more specifics in a second. But yeah, okay. This has been a whole thing. For those of you who don't know, this is Artakha. He was one of the first inhabitants of the Matoran universe ever created, making him like, I don't know, 100,000 years old. That's how old the Toamata are. He built the Toamata. He's a big deal. So, yeah, he's responsible for a lot of the artifacts that we know in the Bionicle universe. He forged the Kanohia Voki, the Mask of Light. He built the Toamata. He built the Jet Tracks, the Axelara, the blanking on Pohatu's one, all the vehicles from 2008. He built all those. That was all him. He, of course, was part of the fight in the core processor and the story serials. And last we left off, he was on this like temple thing in Boda Magna, and an explosion occurred there caused by Velika, and we did get a confirmation that he survived. So that's where he last was. Background on the model itself. This was based off of, like, the whole model was based off of a design by Connor Hoffman, and Perpetual on the TTV message boards was responsible for making the artwork that won the canon contest. So that artwork is canon. In that artwork, he made this mask. And the 3D model for it, I believe, was done by, I'm checking because I can't remember all the names. I say as a Bionicle fan. We're finding it. Brian Kong did the mask, and so basically he translated that 2D design into this 3D one, and that was really cool. I got it from Shapeways. It's pretty durable. Used some paint to get that pearl gold color to match the artwork, and yeah, and there's loads of things in that mask that I love specifically. Just looking at it, gosh, I'm kind of whatever. We're just gonna we're gonna pull them all the way forward, so you can see inspiration from different masks. Obviously, the how is sort of in the mouth. You can see the entire top of the head kind of looks like Kini Nui, the Great Temple from the island of Mata Nui. And anyway, there's loads of inspiration from different masks, especially the Mata specifically, since he was the one who forged them. And I just love all the different details. I believe the only thing that we knew about it, specifically from the story, was that it had runes on it, so it even matches that description. So that's all super good. Yeah, so taking a look at them, I do want to just give a sense of scale real quick. Where did it go? Here we go. I got a tape measure here, or kind of a tape measure. I believe it is for fabric, and it came from my sister because I could not find a ruler. So we're gonna be using that. I did it earlier. I just want to show it on screen. So it's around 12.5 feet tall. So not 12.5 feet tall, 12.5 inches tall, a little over a foot. Yeah, so he's a big dude. And obviously so much of the complexity is in the design. Like, I hear Jang Brick say this sometimes, like, go check out the instructions. But don't just, like, glance at them. Like, you need to go to the instructions, which are, if you just look up Artaka, the originator, I believe, that's, like, the main message board for him about him, the specific model. Like, you need to check out some of the stuff he does. He does a lot of, like, illegal techniques, but oh my God. Like, it's just so interesting, because I don't have a lot of experience with all the illegal stuff. And the way things lock together is so interesting to me. And there kept being different points in the build where I was like, oh, this just isn't going to work. It's not going to lock together right. and then like, I don't know, 12 steps later, everything would fit together securely. There's only a couple places in the build, I think, where it's a little loose, and even then I'm not sure I did it right because I don't have experience with some of these techniques. Anyway, yeah, so 12 inches tall. I'm gonna sort of angle him down, maybe. I do want to give a sense of scale, but I'm trying to decide whether I should like actually go over the figure first. If we back him up, we can back him up to about there, I think. Yeah, then he starts to lean forward. Okay. Let's see. We are gonna move his hammer out of the way, so his hammer's really cool. It's kind of hard to pose because there's not much friction in this elbow. But yeah, let's try to get it out of the hand so that we can take. This is like a huge hammer. Like, it's really big. But yeah, that was really cool. It was done last. Taking a look at Artaka himself. I'm gonna try to get a good look at this best I can. Articulation, looking up, down. That's how it is. Articulation isn't something you really look for when it comes to big models like this. You're really more into the detail and everything. But I mean, the articulation it's decent. Gosh, okay, I can't get over the greebling. The greebling is like amazing. There's so many parts go into this. I believe it was over 1,000. Like, it's absolutely over 1,000. I did the math for like the first page. I did a Google Doc that was like all the pieces. And I got to 200 on the first page. I'm like, I don't have time for this. I got schoolwork. But it's like absolutely over 1,000. It's loads of small pieces. And it's so cool. So looking at the shoulders, they kind of go like this. You can go forward and back though, like a lot. Elbows, a lot of articulation there. I'm trying to get my arm out of the way because he's just really big and I'm trying to get over the camera. Hands, got some stuff there. This is one of the parts I wasn't sure if I did right because it looked like in the instructions that this locks down, but I wasn't able to do that because it's attached to one of those Exoforce hands right there for the robots. The Exoforce hands right there, and I couldn't get it to attach down. So yeah, I don't know. So that kind of folds together, but individually posed fingers, like a lot of the Titans we got in Bionicle, it's some cool stuff. Looking at him, nothing in the torso, just because, like, I mean, he's a big boy. He needs to be pretty stable. Looking at the legs, I don't know how I'm gonna do this. Probably angle it down, hope that the camera doesn't fall over from the weight of it. Move the arm out of the way. You can move this all the way forward. There's a lot of range there, and then you can move it all the way back about that far. The knees don't have much, but there is some there. Oh, there's more than I thought. Yeah, so you can kind of do something like that. One of the really cool things I noticed here is that he sort of made his own pistons. You know, they have those piston pieces, but he made his own pistons for this, so that added in a lot of friction there. And even the feet, like, it blew my mind. I was doing the feet, I was seeing techniques I'd never used before. These are black pins, and they just slot into those feet first used on Stormer XL in 2012. And you put them on both sides, they just slot in perfectly. It's crazy. So yeah, that's articulation. You can see when I go through this whole thing, like, there's just so much detail and so much that just builds this up, and it feels like a living thing. It really nails that idea of like a biomechanical being. Because, you know, like when you watch the, well, I'm going to be perfectly honest, I've never seen them. But like the Bayformers movies, the Michael Bay Transformers stuff, they got like all those little details and everything. Those aren't biomechanical, they're just mechanical, I think. But it just nails that look of being like realistic, and I feel like it gets that perfectly. Like, it feels like this thing could be walking around. Another cool thing about Artaka, actually, he does contain a heart light. That was something introduced in the Bionicle movies and was never really represented in the sets. You can attach some studs to the Toa Nuva and kind of give them that look, but you know, I haven't done that personally just because I feel like if one character has a heart light, then I have to give all of them a heart light. The inconsistency is going to bother me, but I mean, I guess that's already done through Artakha anyway, so I might end up doing that, might not. We'll see how I feel later. But yeah, just giving him 360 turn. You can see on the sides. That's how it looks. Let me get the arm out of the way. Let's try the legs work from the sides. Those Vaison heads, oh my gosh. Right down there. across here, that was the hardest part of the whole build. You had to put that bar through like 4 different parts, and I was stuck on it. I swear it took me like over half an hour to do both of them. Over the back, there's this cape, the cape from King Matthias, I think, in Knight's Kingdom. So you can see right here, this just literally attaches to a Metro head. It's nothing but that. And even under the cape, if you lift that over, there is so much detail on that. Like there's just so much covering. It's ridiculous. It's so cool. It's like even under the cape, there's still a person in there. He put all that effort into it to just make it feel alive. Gosh, I love this. Okay, another thing I really like about it, these every time you use masks, they don't really like look like masks. I have a problem with like Makuta Pterodax from 2003, where it just looks like he has the Konohi Evokis on his hands as for hands, and I'm just like, that's always really weird to me. But like looking at this, I don't know if it's because it's in that more metallic color, but I really don't see the face as much. Also, it's to the sides. I really don't see the face as much right here for Drill Dozer and Firelord, because those were one head used for 2 different guys. And I don't really see him down there. That's the original Mask of Light fused to the back of Azon's head. I don't see it. It just looks like Gribbling to me. So yeah, it's a really solid figure. And even just, I remember going over Helrix and Krakua, who I'll get a comparison with in a second. And my first thought, just after I built them, was like, wow, these are fragile. This is a big dude. You got to be careful with him, especially because there's no friction joints on him. But he's not like fragile. Like, he's holding together. I'm not worried about him falling apart. There was a lot of effort put into this, and it's phenomenal. So speaking of them, I do want to get a comparison next to Krakua, who I also built and is also a fan model that became canon, of course, with like a difference of like 15 years. But here we go. There's them standing next to each other. You can really see that scale on Artaka. And then I also want to get them next to the only other modern contest entries that we have so far, except for the Haga, but the Haga's art contest is still going on as of this time. I'll probably give an update on how I feel about the Haga at the end of this video, or like next BioShelf update, something like that. But here we go. Here's Helrix next to Artaka. You can see them together, so that's really cool. You can see, by the way, the books I'm leaning on, that's New Ninjago, but whatever, I'm excited about that. First one was meh, but hopefully this one will be better. Yeah, so she's just like really short standing next to him. That's just really cool. And so I saw Helrix and Artaka, and the first thing I thought was, wait a second, the battle in the core processor. That's like one of his most memorable moments. So I do want to do a thing, just real quick. We now do have an idea of how that battle would have looked. Oh, by the way, I fixed Helrix's tube. It's a little wonky, but Helrix's tube is fixed. Her head's leaning down. I don't want to mess with it right now. It's because she's on a higher shelf, so I like having the eyes align with like the person viewing it. So it's like whatever. But yeah, I'm gonna pull these guys out. We do have Adaptive Liwanuva, who I do have a video on. He was obviously, was he the first? I think, yeah, he was the first Adaptive Toanuva I did. I do have, just leaning over here, right here, I have an extra Anuanuva, so that one will be coming on, that's on the way. Adaptive Anuanuva, should be a pretty basic one, not that big of a deal. And then, I'll show you this all in a second. Copeak, who wasn't there in the core processor. Obviously, Liwa was possessed by Trin Krom at the time, that was a weird thing. But yeah, Copeak wasn't there, but Hafu and Kapura were, and they are rebuilt Matoran, just like him. And then, finally, we don't have a Canon 2 yet. Is that, I don't remember when that one's coming up. I don't think it's the next one. It might be, I think it's 2 yet in Luriska, I gotta check. Anyway, but we know she's a Metro build, and she's a Metro build Toa Water, and I have Nokama standing in for her. So Copeak and Nokama obviously weren't there, but we can stand them in there, and you can get a sense of scale there. Artaka is a big dude. But yeah, it's kind of cool getting like a whole idea of the core processor thing. Obviously, I don't have Makuta Miserix, because he's like impossible, and someday I'm gonna have to build him, but I am not prepared for that day yet. And personally, I don't have Axon and Brutaka yet, so I can't do scale kind of thing with them. But yeah, there's one last figure I'd like to do. Moving all of them out of the way, I feel like it's important to get a good idea for scale. You can kind of see it with adaptively maneuver, and even Helrix to a certain extent, because they made her close to the same size as its Omada. But I thought it would be cool to get his size next to Tahumada, since he is the constructor of them, and you can see, oh my gosh, it doesn't even get up to his hips. It's so cool, dude. It's so cool. But yeah, I mean, he is the one who constructed Tahu. That's his handiwork right there. It's really cool. But yeah, I mean, this is Artaka. So glad we finally have him done. Just add him to the shelf, and then move on. Now, if this is all you're interested in, you're free to go, class dismissed. But if you're interested in how I'm feeling about the Haga, I'm going to give an update on that. So, okay, real quick, I am going to give an update on that. I just noticed they have these system pieces that are like really detailed, and they're on like the inside of this armor here. And it's more detail on like a deeper level, and it's the coolest thing ever. Okay, now we're done. Now we're going to talk about the Haga. The Haga I've been looking at, obviously I can't say anything now because the colors are going to be altered for the final thing, which means I have to paint things different colors or buy things different colors for the Haga. I don't know, it's 4 figures. I just spent the last 7.5 months waiting for Artaka, and there weren't many Bionicle related videos during that time. And I'd really like to get back to more Bionicle related videos. I think I'm going to wait on the Haga. I might do 1 or 2 of them, one of the more simple ones, because obviously they aren't Artaka. They are not complex creations. They're pretty standard Metri builds, most of them. Not Bamunga, but like Gaki and I think Koalas are both really standard. But I might do a couple of them. I'm not doing all 4 yet. I will do all 4 at some point, but not yet. The builds coming up, Lariska 2 yet? I'll totally do them like immediately after they're canonized. But I can't do all 4 of the Toa Haga. That's just not in my range right now. I'd really like to get back to regular Bionicle videos so that I could grow the channel, so that I could keep doing more stuff that I actually enjoy. Because it's hard maintaining the interest when you're like not really doing much for 7.5 months. I got all the pieces for Artaka finally, and I was so excited. I had so much fun building him. But the fact that there was nothing leading up to that was like hard. So I don't know. I might go back to my old format, just look around on eBay, look around on Bricklink, see what I can find for a cheap amount of money, grow the collection, get some more standard sets in there. That's what I'm kind of thinking for now. Like I said, might do the Haga at some point. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Bye.